Hello and welcome to this evening Pilates session. This is ideal for before you go to bed to stretch off any of the tightnesses that have built up during the day to aid restful sleep. And for those of you who struggle with meditation, it is thinking about the body, concentrating on your breathing a little bit, and therefore can slot into place for that kind of goal. Okay. So we're going to start off standing. Most of this is going to be sitting and lying down, but we're going to be standing up to start with. It's just good to remove your shoes and socks. If you can go outside to do this, this is fantastic. You can stand on the grass or on the earth, which is really good grounding. But if not, don't worry, you can be on your mat in your bedroom or just on the carpet or the hard floor. So start with your feet hip width apart. Lift and separate your toes and push down through your big toes a little bit. Just get the feeling that you're pushing down through each of your toes, but you're not gripping and curling your feet. You want to feel like your feet are a tripod. Big toes, little toes and heels. The weight is equal. And the way to work on this a little bit, hands on your hips. If you just rock forwards and backwards, take the weight through your toes and then through your heels, toes and heels, feeling the weight go forwards and backwards. And if we're thinking about this taking the form of a meditation session, just being aware of the weight going forwards and backwards, being aware of what your body is doing as you take the weight forwards. Your glutes should squeeze a little bit, and as you take the weight back, your tummy should squeeze a little bit there. Good, so just being aware of what's happening in your body, and then we're just going to take the weight from side to side, from one foot to the other foot, and I want you to feel like the whole of that leg tightens and squeezes as you take your weight onto it. So you squeeze up through your thigh and tighten through your glute. Squeeze through the thigh and tighten through the glute. And think about what happens to the foot as well as you take the weight onto it. It has to do something. It has to work just a little. Make sure you're not gripping through the muscles. Good. All right, settle in the middle. So this should give you a sense of where the middle is. You're neither one side or the other, forwards or backwards. And I want you to just lift up one heel. So this is a really nice stretch through the feet. Tucking the bottom under, drawing in through the tummy here. Keep your chest open, keep your chin tucked, and you're just transferring from side to side. This is where you feel the thigh squeezing that little bit more and your glute squeezing on the other side. Make sure your ankles go straight forwards. So it's really nice to stretch through the feet and the ankles. No matter what you've been doing all day, if you've been on your feet all day, this is really good to stretch around the feet and ankles. If you've been traveling and you're in a hotel room, fantastic again to move through the feet and the ankles and get some blood pumping through the calves. It's alternating, but if you've been sitting all day, all the same, it's good to really move through there. Good. And then a slightly more complicated one, up onto the toes, bend your knees, heels down, back up. Now, my balance feels pretty good today for some reason, but don't worry if you're all over the place with this one. It just gives you a little bit of work through the feet, the calves and the legs. Good. 2 more. And the last one. Good, we're going to step out wide. This is just to stretch out the hips a little bit, toes wide, knees open, just squatting and coming back up. I want you to feel like you're going down through 2 panes of glass, opening out through the hips. Drop your shoulders. Good, and your tailbone is going straight down. And you can breathe in as you come up, breathe out as you go down. Just encourages you to do them a little bit slower as well if you add that breathing. Good. 2 more. Squeeze your thighs on the way up. Squeeze and squeeze your bum. Good. We're going to stay down the bottom and we're just going to glide from side to side. Again, just stretching out the legs a little bit, but working them a tiny bit as well. So your bottom's tucked under and you take your weight over to one side, stretch out the other. But you should be staying about the same level here. Good. 1 more each side. Good, and then just come down, put your elbows on your knees there and just push the knees wider. Just a little bit of a stretch, but a lazy stretch because you're propping yourself up with your elbows there. Good. Come back up again. So we're going to come down onto the mat. So you're going to stand at the end of your mat. Doesn't matter if you don't have one, if you're just on the floor, just facing this way. Drop your chin down to your chest, and I want you to curl down one vertebra at a time, all the way to the bottom. And then in this position, just let your head and arms go heavy. Whatever you've been doing all day, it's probably built you some tension through the upper arms, so it's nice just to breathe in and out a couple of times. Allow yourself to sink. That nice deep breath in goes into the backs of your lungs. Really nice to get the air down into the lower back part of your lungs when you breathe in. Breathe out a couple more. Bend and straighten each knee, pushing the knee back. Good, and just allow yourself to come just that little bit further down each time. Good stuff. Bend your knees. So if you can't sit down comfortably on your heels here, this is something to work on, lifting the heels up off the floor, making sure the knees can bend fully. Now, if there's something wrong with your knees, obviously, this is something to see a professional about, but if there's nothing wrong, if it just feels tight, this is something to work on. It's really important that you don't lose this motion. Coming down onto your hands and knees. Knees should be underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. Unless you have a wrist problem, then I don't mind you having your hands that little bit further forwards. It just takes the pressure off them a little bit. Or you can be on the fists like this if you truly do have a problem with the wrists that you can't weight bear on them. Alternatively, be down on the elbows, but anyway, you have those options. I just want you to lift and lower through the shoulders. Again, that tension builds through the shoulders during the day, and this kind of motion can just take that pressure off from the shoulders. We are just moving here through the shoulder blades. Really important to just be able to do that. I don't want any elbow bending at all. You are just moving through those shoulder blades. The shoulder blades come together and then they come apart. Come together and then apart. Good. And then we're just going to try and do through the pelvis. So arching your back, sticking your bottom out, scooping and tucking under, but those shoulders stay in the same place. We're just doing the pelvis now. Tucking, scooping the tailbone under, and then sticking back out again. Good. 2 more. Brilliant. We are going to stretch forwards with the right arm, up and round in a circle, and back down. So this upper back typically gets tight with any kind of working posture, any kind of daily posture. Stretch forwards, up and round. Any kind of training comes to that fact. So if you're a runner or an athlete, upper backs get tight. So we're talking from here up to the neck, forwards, and it's rotation that we tend to lose. Good, 1 more each side. Brilliant. Good. So I'm going to let you lay down on your back here. I've got a towel. It's for the stretching a little bit later, but you can roll it up for underneath your head if you want. We're going to be on our backs. Good. And first of all, every time I lay down to do any stretching before I go to bed, what I really want to do is stretch my legs out and their arms straight up. So this is just fantastic. Pull your toes up. Tighten through here, stretch your heels away from you, link your hands and stretch straight up above the head. There's nothing better than doing this kind of full body stretch. It's really nice. It's what you always want to do when you lie down flat on the floor. Cool. But what I want you to do is bring your legs in, feet hip width apart, tuck through the chin, lengthen the back of the neck, broaden out through the front of the chest, and pull your shoulders down away from the ears. I want you to take a nice breath in. And when you breathe out, feel your ribs sinking down. With the pelvis, rock it backwards and forwards just like we were when we were on our hands and knees. And settle somewhere in between here. I want you to tighten through your pelvic floor, which is what holds all your organs in from the bottom. Tighten through your pelvic floor, not strong, not fast, nice and slow, and not 100%. So you tighten through there, and all I want you to do is put your hands on your outer ribs here. I want you to take a nice breath in, pushing out into your hands, and breathe out. And you can actually push in with your hands to push the air out. Breathe in. We're just going to do 5 of these nice deep breaths. And breathe out, in through your nose, out into those lower outer ribs, and breathe out. And last one. So in that good position, breathe in, and breathe out. Nice one. Put your feet together, drop your knees out. I just want you to feel that stretch through the hips. Knees dropped out. Good. And we're just going to breathe a couple of times there. Breathe in. Breathe out. In again. And out. Fantastic. Bringing those knees back up again. And feet hip width apart. Now grab this towel. So it's just a hair towel or a hand towel from the bathroom, and I want you to hook it underneath that foot. What I want you to do, it can be a longer towel, or it can be a dressing gown, belt, or it could be a stretching band if you have one at home. But what I want you to do is bend and straighten that knee. Now the towel, you can see, is around my toes and not around my heel, and I want you to allow that heel to push straight up. So a lot of tightness through the backs of the legs is through that sciatic nerve rather than through your hamstrings necessarily. And so if you allow your toes to be pulled towards you and allow the heel to push straight up, then you get a little bit more of a sciatic nerve stretch here. Even more so on this next one, where you're going to point and flex at the ankle. You'll notice these are quite active stretches. Hanging on a stretch is not always the best thing to do. And then I want you to come from side to side. This might be a good idea to put both in one hand. And this is really mobilizing that sciatic nerve. If you have restless leg syndrome at night time, this can be something that helps to stretch out through the nerves before you go to bed. Good. You can hang in a stretch to the side. See how far out you can take that one. I must admit, I'm gripping hold of the grass on the other side here, so you really need to work through your arm. And then pull it across. Good. Some of these might feel quite uncomfortable as far as those nerves are concerned. If you feel it pulling all the way up through there, just don't be too aggressive with it. Good. Then we're going to swap sides. So remember, it's both hands to start with on this side. Bend and straighten that knee. Allow the toes to be pulled down towards you. Cool. Point and flex at the ankle. Make sure you relax your breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Both ends of the towel in one hand and pulling across and then out. Across and then out. Good. Stay out to the side. Other hand out. Good. Keep that knee straight and just allow it to be stretched out to the side there. Good, and then across the body. Cool, your legs are going to feel so good after this. You're going to want to do a workout, never mind go to bed. Okay, so bring that leg in. So the last thing we're going to do now, I didn't want to have too much equipment here, but if you've got a bigger towel, this exercise can be quite good with a thicker towel. What I'm going to do is roll it up to that kind of length, and we want to put it just here on the mat. If you've got quite a thick towel, then you might want a pillow for your head. If you've got a thinner towel like me or a smaller towel, then you don't necessarily need something for your head there. If you do have a long foam roller, 90 centimetre one, you can use it for this exercise if you like. But with the towel there, all we're going to do is lie down so that the towel goes from here to here. Now this is actually quite good with this hand towel. It's not too aggressive, it's just stretching out the back. So with the hands up in front of you, remember those feet hip width apart. This will push you into a good neutral position with your back. Tuck your chin, arms up in front. I want you to take a breath in and breathe out and open out through the arms there. This is stretching that upper back. Breathe in, breathe out. And again, breathe in as you come up, breathe out. And then we're going to breathe in and out up into a V. 1, 2. Last one of these. 3. Do as many as you like of those, keeping those ribs down and stretching out and opening out. And sometimes it's just lying on it. The next thing I want you to do here is pull your knees into your chest. That intensifies that stretch through the upper back here. The lower back and the upper back are really linked as far as their tightness is concerned. So if your upper back is stiff and tight, you often get lower back pain because your lower back is trying to deal with the extra movement that it needs to give when your upper back is stiff. Good. Cool. So bringing your knees down, just with your arms out to the side, knees and toes together, just rolling from side to side here. Again, with that towel underneath that upper back, makes a bit of a difference as far as the stretching, etc. from this exercise. Good. One more each side. Nice one. So if you can take that towel away, we're going to sit back up again. Sit how you like. Now, if you're more comfortable sitting on a chair for this one, then do, or on the edge of the bed. If you're happy cross-legged, that's one way. Or if you just want to sit on your heels, then fine. So we're just stretching out the neck. You can stand even if you want to. Just going to take the hand onto that side of the head and pull over to the side. This hand, you're going to sit on. That keeps that shoulder down. So taking the head over to the side. And we're just going to hold for about 10 seconds here. You can hold again for longer if you would like. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to do fairly short holds. It's really nice to open up the side of the neck there. And keep breathing. Lovely. And then we're going to swap sides. Sit on the other hand. And taking the head over to the side. Drop that shoulder down. So you should feel a stretch possibly through the arm and through the neck. Good. If you feel like there's a better stretch with your chin a little bit further down or looking up to the ceiling, then go with it. Good. One more each side. Breathe into the stretch as well. So as you're there, you just do a nice kind of medium breath and breathing out. Good. And then to the other side again. Don't worry if the neck feels a bit achy. Straight after these, it just is rejecting the new movement initially. Good. And the last one is to just drop your chin down to your chest. So hook your hands behind your head here. And you should feel that stretch going down towards your shoulder blades probably. Good stuff. All right, so we're just going to come back up in standing. Onto your hands and knees again. Good. And I just want you to push your bottom straight up and drop down into the heels. So you haven't done much of a calf stretch so far. We've worked around the feet a little bit. So just alternating heel drops there. Good. And you can come all the way forwards on the toes as well if you feel like those toes need a little bit more of a stretch out too. Good. Walk your hands towards your feet. Hang again. Bend and straighten each knee if you want to, if that feels like a nice stretch and position to get into. Good, and curling your way up. Lovely. So there you go. There's your evening, kind of a stretching workout, but you should feel a few of your bits of your body have been worked a little bit. Maybe the glutes are fired up slightly from that, the squats and things at the beginning. So I hope you enjoyed that. My name's Kim Saha. Follow my channel, subscribe please, because then that helps me to build it. Click like, share with your friends, give me a little comment in the comment box, and check out the rest of my videos on my channel.